Hi, everyone. Does anyone know what this is? Rubik's Cube. Can anybody solve it in this room? Lots of people. I like that. Just as a side note, at the break, following break, if you could come and see me and solve it for me, because it's been like this for so long. And I'd like the colors to be back to how they were. So as he said, I'm a student at Concordia here at the John Molson School of Business. And I've been through many exams. I've been studying also for a major part of my life. And there's one thing I noticed when I left exams. There's always this one student that's been studying for like whole weeks, and they leave the exam, and they say, oh man, I'm going to get a bad grade. Going to get a bad grade. And worst case scenario, you're leaving and going, you know what? I think I answered the questions right. I think I'm going to get a good grade. I'm going to be good. And the results are in, and that student that said they were going to get a bad grade, they always get the grade you were expecting, the good grade. And you, well, you get, whatever's left. And so I was wondering, after this happened many times, there's probably a relationship between confidence and knowledge. There must be something with it, because this happens so many times. Now, of course, I'm not the first to think of that. Here's one of my favorite quotes about this relationship between confidence and knowledge. It's from Bertrand Russell. It's from before I was born. It says, the whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, but wiser people so full of doubts. And I think that's a nice quote. It fits the relationship between confidence and knowledge. But it wasn't until 1999 where Mr. Dunning and Mr. Kruger measured the effect, this relationship between confidence and knowledge. They called it the Dunning Kruger effect. It's their names together. And it's fairly simple. Actually, it's really simple. It could be explained by one graph. Now, the next slide is white, so if you might shield your eyes for a second, because it's going to get bright. All right, there you go. Now I can see you all. So here's a curve. It's a fairly simple curve. And I'm going to explain it to you with this Rubik's Cube. Now, the first time I saw the Rubik's Cube, I thought it was a fairly simple object. I was maybe 10 or 11, and I thought I could solve it. I mean, this is a cube. I've seen this in school. It's colors. I've seen this in kindergarten. Whole bunch of squares. I've measured these in the parameter. I know how these things work, right? I have all the information I need. So when people were telling me it's a hard puzzle, I didn't believe them. So I started. I was spinning the cube, getting things done, and I got one face done. And I was proud of that, and I said, well, I only have to do this 5 other times, because it's got 6 faces, and 6 minus 1 is 5. So I keep doing it, and I keep solving. I go, I'm going to solve these other faces. It's easy. It's easy, and as I get to solve the other face, I'm noticing that the first face I solved is gone. And my confidence, you see, when I did the first one was up here. But now as I realized that there was much more than I thought, it was going down, 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 down here. So that's what happened, and this is why it's still unsolved today. Okay. Now, if we put the student in perspective, the student with the confidence that was sure he was going to fail, he was maybe down here. He was not confident, but he knew much more than me, while I was up here. I didn't know much, but I was so sure I would get everything. So there you go. That's the effect. I can stop here, right? You understand? It's fairly simple, right? Yeah, okay. And so if you understand it, right, you're probably up here then, because, right? Because there's much more to it. Why is it that the bunch of facts I gave you the confidence that, yeah, I know pretty much everything there is to it? Well, how did facts work? How did facts affect you? So when I started my presentation, I gave you a whole bunch of facts, and in your brain you made a label that says Dunning Kruger effect, or whatever I'm talking about. And there were the facts. They were scattered around in that label, and they filled it up, right? Its borders are really clear, and everything is fairly simple. Now, if you were to keep looking, keep searching, you'd get more information. These facts would rearrange. You would find more configurations. Gaps would appear. Questions. And more importantly, what's there? Like, what's further than the screen? And as you keep gaining more and more information, you realize that, well, maybe this is what I knew initially. This little island of knowledge right here, lost in this whole sea of ignorance. But that's a good thing, right? Because you can say, I don't know. I can't figure this out. But you can seek out to find it. That's the point where you need to get to realize that the edges of the screen aren't really the edges. It just keeps going on. You can always keep finding stuff out. The great power of knowledge isn't about what you know. It's about what you're willing to admit that you don't. Just like the student. You see, the student that was unsure of their questions, they were like this. They knew all that ignorance. When they were answering, they saw these complex relationships that they just didn't know yet. While me, I was just writing answers that I memorized the night before the exam in the book. And that got me a bad grade because, well, I thought the subject was full. There was nothing more to it. So my answers were incomplete. So where does that leave us? Today, you see, you're going to get a whole bunch of facts from a whole bunch of people. And if you leave it like that, well, nothing's going to go on. But only you will be able to take those facts, expand on them, find the gaps, find the questions, and navigate in your own sea of ignorance. Thank you.